Hello Basement Gamers, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dupsaw and I'm responsible for updating the GTA 6 community map. Today I'm going to share information about how we've managed to map GTA 6 and what our goals are for the mapping project in the future. This work takes a lot of time to put together, so a like and a sub will be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Grab a cup of your favourite beverage and get comfortable. It's time to get started. So what is the GTA mapping project, you ask? Well, if you're a fan of GTA or any of Rockstar's open world games for that matter, you will understand the complexity of their worlds and how rich with detail they are. Even years after they're released, thousands of hours of gameplay, you'll still come across new things. This is what most of us want from an open world game. The hardcore GTA fans are invested in these worlds, and the mapping process is part of the wait and the anticipation for the next game. We all want to know what the game world will look like, but the mapping community just takes us one step further and shows you what the map may look like. The most recent examples are GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. Both games had incredibly detailed worlds to map, and we've got pretty accurate results mapping those games. So why map GTA 6, I hear you ask? As fans of the game, the hype usually starts when the game is announced, right? But with Rockstar game titles, we know we're in for a real treat. Usually the mapping begins when we get the first screenshots and trailers for the game, and it has worked this way since I joined the community back when we were waiting for Vice City release. Since then, we've successfully mapped many of the games, each one getting more accurate and using more complex techniques as we go. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, why do I map these games? Won't it spoil the game for me? This is a very valid question, and one I think is objective. For many games, I like to go in completely blind, no information, and the reason for this is I don't want to be spoiled. So why not with the Rockstar titles? I feel like Rockstar have this magic in their games that not many other developers can achieve, and that is something to do with the attention to detail. If you get spoiled for a regular game, it's like, well, should I play this or not? Because you have this preconceived notion that the game might be shallow on content, and the main draw has now been ruined for you. However, with GTA 6 and other Rockstar titles, you know you will get a world that will take you years to appreciate, to explore, and to fully understand. Mapping GTA is like going on vacation somewhere beautiful and memorising your favourite bits. And when the game finally releases, it's time to move there and explore the hell out of the new hometown. The mapping community get that enjoyment of discovery from the moment the game is teased, not when it's released, which is something to pass the very, very long waits between these game releases. So how do you go about starting the GTA 6 map in the first place? Well, originally, mapping community would research and analyse together, then individually create maps based on their findings. This still happens, which is completely fine. The more people that create maps, the better. Everyone brings new information to the table. However, with GTA 6, I decided to create a community map, which gets updated regularly based on what we call peer-reviewed information, where we essentially review the evidence as a group and then come to a shared conclusion. So then, let's start from the very beginning of the process. Usually the very first step is to figure out which real-world architecture Rockstar has used in their games in each of the images we have. This establishes a basic understanding of the area that influenced the part of the map. The measurements of the buildings also tell us the scale we're working with, and this in turn gives us a starting point to plot buildings onto the map. The next step is the tried and true method of triangulation. We do this by scrubbing through all of the footage and screenshots at our disposal. When we find buildings that match from two different angles or more, we can then start to loosely plot them down on a blank canvas. Once we have several buildings in the area plotted, we can then tweak positions and angles and start to draw in the roads surrounding them. All these elements are constantly tweaked and updated based on angle data from newer images and newer information. Some of the methods we use include drawing vertex points from the centre of an image casting rays onto a building to get a more accurate angle. This can be done in 2D and 3D. The more information we have, the more accuracy we can get for the objects placed in the world. Once we have placed all the things we can see in the videos and imagery, it's time to connect the puzzle pieces. This is what we call speculative mapping. This part is based on the game's map area, the data we have, and how it relates to the real world. This part is always peer reviewed with the community since not everyone agrees with all the information, so we have to come to a common agreement on some of the map areas until we get new data. Once new information or evidence is brought forward from the community, we always review it and decide between us if it's correct or not. Then the map gets updated based on this new evidence. Sometimes game information is leaked early, And sadly for Rockstar, GTA 6 had a massive leak back in 2022. But for the mapping community, this was the birth of the project. We didn't have to wait for Trailer 1 to release, and we got started. The leaks contained a goldmine of information for mappers, including coordinates for almost every clip. This essentially handed us everything we needed to get started, unlike previous games. The reason why the coordinates are so important is because we're able to plot them down on a grid and get an early understanding of the scale of the map before we got a single shred of information about the game from Rockstar. Other things in the leaks that helped us were the location. We now knew it was Vice City, and several other location names from the event scripts. Red Dead Redemption 2 also had a big leak before released, but it was roughly halfway through the mapping cycle. This was in the form of an actual map, but it took a long time for the community to accept it, and although I feel for Rockstar for having their hard work ruined by leaks, we couldn't as a mapping community ask for anything better to aid our efforts. Finally, I can show you GTA 6 footage that isn't leaked. This will give me a great opportunity to show you exactly where many of the shots are positioned, and hopefully give you a better understanding of the map. Think of it as a tour of Vice City and Leonida State. So this is the opening shot of the trailer. As you can see, we are south of Vice City. You can see Rockstar's version of downtown Brickell on the background. To the right side, there is a power plant. And right in the centre is the correctional prison, which we also see in the next scene. Just above that is the freeway coming off of Vice City International Airport, which is also hidden by the mist below the city there. And just below the prison is a water treatment plant, beside this waterway just here. Based on all this information and the placement of the buildings in the background, we've placed this scene here on the map. The next couple of shots are also in the prison grounds. One's looking out towards the parking lot, and the next one is Lucia inside of an office facing towards the central east watchtower. This next shot is a camera panning up from the sea to reveal Rockstar's version of Miami South Beach, which we now know is Vice Beach. This shot is very easy to work out since it's very similar to the real world and feels familiar. However, there's so much information in this scene, hundreds of buildings in the background, it took the community a good amount of time to identify all the majority of the buildings. But lots of information in the distance has helped us map the surrounding area too. Some of the buildings have been switched around, been compacted together, and some from other distant locations in that traditional GTA fashion. This whole area has been mapped in detail since we have a good wide shot, and we have placed it here on the map. This building here is based on Brickell on the river and the 500 Brickell condo. The building in the background there is Met 1. These buildings put the shot near the Vice River on the south bank. We have put it here on the map. This boat scene we haven't pinned a location for yet, we just know by the environment that it's somewhere in the Everglades, or Rockstar's aptly named version, the Grass Rivers, which we knew from the leaks. The same again for the flamingo shot. We haven't mapped it just yet, we just know its general direction is the south to southwest of the map. This beach shot is in the same area as the wide Vice Beach shot, but this one is much further south, facing the north to northwest slightly. We've identified many buildings and matched them up to the other shots and triangulated the building placements. We can see as far back as the Okoya, the Jade and the Ritz-Carlton in this shot. Again, buildings are compacted from Bal Harbour and Mid-Beach Miami to create their own smaller versions of the area, and we are calling it Washington Beach speculatively based on the freeway road signs. We've placed it here on the map. This speedboat scene takes place on the southeast side of the port. The buildings in the background appear to be buildings from Brickell Key and the Brickell Point area, so roughly Vice City's downtown area. The bridge appears to be crossing from the port to Rockstar's version of Virginia Keys. We've placed it here on the map. This next shot takes place on the I-404 freeway, GTA 6's version of Miami's I-395. As you can see by the road sign, it links up with the I-97, GTA 6 version of I-95 in Miami. In the background you can see the Kaseya Center, the Marquee, Ten Park Museum and Marina Blue. These are all buildings on Miami's Biscayne Bay area. Placed it here on the map. This area is Stockyard, based on the vibrant Wynwood, Miami. We've triangulated a scene and matched shots with the leaks, and placed it here on the map. This handshake scene has not been pinned yet. We believe it's somewhere between Little Haiti and Stockyard, based on the background, but that's all we know. This is a very iconic shot of the Venetian islands, facing east towards Miami Beach, or Vice Beach. We can see a compact version of Pelican Harbour to the left of the shot, and the flagged island on the right. You can also see some canals in the centre of frame in the background. This helps us figure out the shape and terrain of the area. We placed it here on the map. This shot once again is in Vice Beach, Ocean Drive, the iconic strip from the original Vice City, also seen in Scarface, Miami Vice, and many other films and TV shows. We've got loads of information from this scene, loads of hotels and their names. We placed it here on the map. This next shot is way down south and based on the Florida Keys, or the Gator Keys in GTA 6. This is the first shot we've had of the Keys, and luckily quite a wide shot, so we've managed to map out the whole terrain in the area. This particular section of the Keys is based on Bahia Honda Key and its old offset dilapidated bridge. We put it here on the map. Another shot from the landmass that is Vice Beach, this time near Mid-Beach area on Rockstar's version of Miami's Tresor Tower. This time we get a shot looking south or southwest, so that gives us a good couple of angles to triangulate with other background buildings. You can see in the far background Brickell to the right and Fisher Island to the mid-left of the shot. And of course loads of buildings on Vice Beach Island. We placed it here on the map. The Vice sign is a Bad Boys for Life movie reference, and the Miami sign is at the end of the Miami International Airport runway in that film. Looking at the buildings in the background, it's safe to assume that it's being in the same or similar place in the game. We've placed it here on the map. The Dad Bod squad is cruising south down Biscayne Bay along the west shore. We can see the Marriott on the right, we can see the Art Museum centre of frame, the Marquee, Ten Park and Marina Blue to the left of frame going past, and that's also the same freeway Lucia is inside the car with arms in the air. We placed it here on the map. Many of the social media shots are too closed in to get a good idea of where they are, so I'll skip to the ones that we do know. The twerk on the top of the car roof shot has the council towers north in the background. This helps us to put the shot in Vice Beach in the middle of the island. The car is travelling north to northeast. We have placed it here on the map. The green car doing donuts around the purple car matches up with the TikTok leak, specifically the green store opposite the strip club, just out of frame. The social media post straight after this is the same scene. We placed it here on the map. The Planet Leonida Man shot was hard to place, since we didn't match anywhere else we've seen so far. However, after a hawk-eyed member of the mapping community figured out where the blurry misty buildings were in the background, we managed to get a triangulation for it. The buildings in question are the Quantum Bay and the Grand, over on the Biscayne Beach west shore, and in the far left corner of the opening frame we see the City View parking garage in Stockyard. We placed it here on the map. The General Custard Florida Man is stood outside his car on the I-97 freeway. The camera is facing south-southeast towards Brickell. We placed it here on the map. We know that the Thrillbilly Mud Club scene is based on the Redneck Mud Park, so we can only speculate on where it is on the west side of the map, but with no other point of reference we can't pin it anywhere. The police getaway scene with Lucia and Jason is still unknown at this time of making the video. We have speculated that it might be somewhere north of Vice City, possibly Waning Sands. We don't know much about Waning Sands other than the general direction from a road sign. The first bike scene can be placed somewhere in or near Little Haiti, based on the houses and the government building in the background. This scene still needs a few more puzzle pieces to solve entirely, but based on what we know, we placed it here on the map. The gun shop getaway scene is in Port Gellhorn, which seems to be an old industrial town on the west coast of Leonida. We know it's here for multiple reasons, but the main one is the scene matches up to a small section of actual map we found from the leaks. We pinned it here on the map. The motel bed shot is a place we've also seen in the leaks. This is located on the outskirts of Port Gellhorn. The final robbery scene is still unknown, but looking outside, we think it may also be Port Gellhorn. So, you might be wondering, what is the goal of the mapping community? Well, put simply, it's just like putting a puzzle together, whilst we wait for the game to come out, but with a lot more calculations involved. Our main goal is to get the map evolved as accurately as possible to match the final game, so that when it comes out we can say, yes, we did it, we got it right. Our secondary goal is to see what we got wrong, and what Rockstar changed before release in the final build. because beta builds of games have always fascinated me and the Rockstar fanbase. If you made it to the end of this video and enjoyed it and want to be part of the community, I'll post the Discord and forum links below so you can start contributing. We still have loads to discover and to figure out, and will do up until the release of the game. We have a wide array of like-minded individuals all from all over the world working on this with the same goal, and you're welcome to be part of that. I will make another video later down the line when we get more information in the form of images and new trailers. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.